I don't know about you guys, but I am so sick of hearing every day about the Stark Varg, the world's first electric motocross bike that's got 80 horsepower and it can be ridden underwater and you never need to change the air filter and all the rest of it. That's great. I'm not disputing any of that crap. But my question is, does it work as a dirt bike, as you would ride your normal petroleum-powered bike? And what I mean by that is basically how long does it last? There are so many conflicting reports. I hear from some people that it can't even make a full 30-minute moto on the maximum power setting, yet the official website states that it can last up to 6 hours. So which one is it? I mean, that's a huge difference. Which brings me on to today. I'm headed out to the Berm Buster, my favorite trail ride in the entire world, where I've ridden my petrol bike a number of times. Courtesy of AFC Motorcycles, I'm going to spend the entire day on a Stark Varg, treating it as a normal petrol bike, and they're confident that as long as I put it on charge between my laps, it will last me the entire day. So let's find out. Simple as that.
Motocross, cross country, enduro, and much more. Join me for the ride of a lifetime. The bike was in for one hell of a test. It had been bucketing down since midnight, like was forecast, and that had meant that the event had seen a whopping 1,600 riders the day before. The trails were in by far the worst condition I'd ever seen them, and needless to say, they were pretty wet too.
585. 585, remember that, Rhino? 100. Alright, let's leave that then, sweet.
But it's days like this where you learn the most about a bike. So this was perfect.
Stalled it a couple of times through that section, but
Yeah, I didn't actually stall it once.
it's weird like that, eh?
Yeah. So I've used 40% battery so far.
Maybe half an hour.
For straight riding, there isn't a massive amount of battery life, but what they're saying is if you can charge in the pits, you'll be right, so we'll see.
If we keep going at that pace for another, whatever that battery, I would be pretty munted.
As I returned back to the pits, having used half the battery already, I wasn't feeling so confident about this whole thing.
And that's charging. So 45%, and that was a lap of gas on power level 2.
Yeah.
You're pretty confident, like by the time I've had smoko and yarned a bit,
Yeah.
should be back pretty high.
Yep.
But I'll be damned, not 30 minutes later, it was near enough full.
95%.
Yeah, that's pretty good, eh? You weren't lying. That charged up good.
Time to hit the KTM loop and see what this thing was really made of.
The display is like so bright in my eyes. That's how dark it is. Well done, man.
I was growing more familiar with the Stark now, and starting to pick up on some of the nuances of how you ride it.
It's as I suspected, you kind of use the rear brake almost like a faux clutch by dragging it to control the power. That's what you do on e-mountain bikes when you're doing switchbacks uphill. Find yourself doing that. I figured you'd do it on this, but you've got a much more powerful motor to try and overwhelm. So you do end up getting a tired finger from doing that. But there, I was just doing it through there. I suspect with a lot of time on the bike, you would learn to stop relying on that.
I'd used 70% this time, but now it was lunch, and precisely one burger and fries later,
Is that 90? The
Sick.
Boston kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've only got one more in me anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It's rough as guts, eh?
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, man.
Good to get up.
by this point, the trails had seen well over 2,000 riders through them. A truly brutal test for any bike.
Look at the state of this track. Damn, that was deep. Well, it had to happen. I've ridden it all day without crashing.
I was shattered. Weirdly so.
It is so much effort to ride. I think in truth, like, any bike would be a lot of effort to ride through there. That was crazy rough. But this just seems like more.
However, there was simply no getting around the fact that it had done it.
So the Stark outlived me.
I don't know what else to say. It works as a dirt bike, as a trail riding dirt bike. I was just thinking about it now, and if you took it to a cross country, it wouldn't work because you obviously can't charge in the middle of a cross country, nor would you have time in a traditional enduro, I don't think. But all I really do these days is trail ride just like that, and I come in for brakes, and as long as you put it on charge, it will last the whole day. It charges a lot faster than I thought it would. It was doing like 50% charge in sort of 45 minutes, which is just fine. Obviously you do have to run a generator, which sort of defeats the purpose of your green electric power plant, right? To run a petrol generator all day. But I don't know, I think it's sort of not really the point of the Stark efficiency. And let's be honest, anybody who's buying a Stark is going to be able to afford to also buy and run a generator, so that'll be no problem for them. Quite surprising. It takes the bike in my head from a place of kind of fun but useless gimmick to actually I could own one of these and it would work as my everyday bike. So that was really interesting, and I'm quite surprised. The negative was how worn out I got riding the thing. I've never been so exhausted from such a small amount of riding in my life. And I'm struggling to put my finger on what that was. Obviously the track was extremely rough. The suspension is a motocross setting and therefore too hard for that sort of riding. So I was doing a lot of bouncing around. I'm not used to that powertrain yet, so doubtless riding it wrong and doing a lot of energy consuming bad habits. I imagine it's probably a combination of all of those plus some other things that I'm not considering. But yeah, there's no getting around the fact that I'd probably have to say twice as exhausted as I would have been on my normal bike for the same amount of riding. It's interesting. It's an amazing piece of kit, and I can't wait to see how this develops. I think electric bikes certainly have a huge place in the dirt bike industry going forward, and they're only going to get better rapidly too. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you learned a thing or two about the Stark, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.